Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Kamikaze304, here starting a Call of Duty 2 single-player campaign. And this campaign I will be playing in the background as I read aloud my audiobook. This audiobook is, of course, being freeballed by yours truly. So let us begin. Chapter 1. The Dying Banana. John rose heavily from his bed that day, stretching and slowly rising. He pulled the clothes hanger from his anus, set it down after wiping it with a dirty cloth, as he does every day. Then stands up and then glides to the bathroom, where he washes his face and looks in the mirror and says, "Hey, good looking, how you doing?" He proceeded to walk downstairs, where his mom greeted him with a smile and then said, "Prepare for your morning training." And when she jumped at him, lunging forward, her arms swinging furiously, he backed off, picking a steak knife off the counter and thrust it into her heart. "Bish," he said with a scowl, "don't you mess with me." Then all of a sudden, his friend burst through the door, Henry, and said, "Jimmy, the Russians have invaded. They're down by the beach." He said, "Then we're gonna show those Russian beaches, what it means to land on an American beach." See what I did there? That's funny, said John. He's like, "Yes, let us go." As they ran down, they saw U.S. Marines yelling at them, "Quick, go to the armory, we need something to fight with." They ran inside. From Henry, he picked up a Mark 19 with a sling. If you do not know what a Mark 19 is, a full-auto M203 is the best way to explain it. And the thing is like the size of a 50 cal, so the thing's huge. He has it slung over his shoulder. Anyway, and John, he picked up a Kimbo G18's underbarrel shotguns with red dots and M79s and an M79 sidearm. He said, "Let's do this." They sprinted down to the beach where Russians were waiting, and they began spraying furiously Mark 19 rounds, skipping off the sand, causing explosions everywhere as bodies were being flung. Marines to the side of John and Henry as they were totally raped in the face, man. I'm talking like, they like, poof. Henry lays down a tactical search. He's like, "I don't know, but I'm just making sure." They start sprinting ahead, and they see, send the Marines out, fall back as a mech warrior. You know that game from when you were little, you build them and then they battle. They're like the huge robots with the Gatling guns and stuff, and they fall back. So they sprinted, round skipping all around them, creating crisis scene. They said, "We must blow this thing up." They ran into the nearest building. They were on San Francisco, so you know. So they hopped into the nearest building where they met the Marine sniper team with a bare 50 cal. Then, all of a sudden, the McWarrior Gatling to win the sniper team. Henry's like, "John, pick up the bird. You're the only one that can save America. Fire. Take out that mech warrior." John leaned in, peering down the scope at the mech warrior, aiming straight for the buttocks as it was turned around, taking a leak. It had just killed all the Marines, and it was tired and had a full bladder to empty. And by leak, I meant changing its oil. Yes, because robots cannot piss. Anyways, he aimed, and then boom! The shot rang out on the San Francisco beaches. And then it was followed by a momentous explosion. Boom, boom, boom. John had hit the grease axle cavity, and the bullet bounced up inside, hitting the pilot in the head, sending his brains all over the controls, causing the system to malfunction. Electric bolts firing everywhere, sending sparks of flame out through it as the thing exploded and landed on the ground. Henry looked at him and said, "Good job." Slowly, the surviving Marines and John and Henry made it to the breach. And John, he's like, "I've always wanted to say a heroic speech. I've got this one, Henry. Make me proud." is all his friend could reply. He stood up, looking at the beaten and battered Marines, and said, 407 years ago. That's 87 years ago from 2011. Crap, what is that? I wish I'd planned ahead when making this. We started the Cold War with the Russians. A war that we would not soon forget as we fight with them on this day. As we fight with them amazingly on this day. We were not expected to win. No one ever thought we would survive. But as you can see, we are the victors. We are ones that were good. And I think that the chapter had a name to something of the effect of get the banana out your butthole. Or something like that. Clear the bananas, maybe. Anyways, and John looked at the beaten Marines and said, at least you're not in the Navy getting the bananas out of your butthole. He sat down and began weeping from all the Russians he had just slaughtered, knowing that in his heart it was the wrong thing. But he knew he had to do it. So he stood up and walked away. His friend, not knowing how to take this, followed shortly behind as they entered the strip club. In there was a big black guy named Bubba Jim. And Bubba said, "Marry me, Joy, yeah, we're not..." No, Bubba said to him, We are ninjas, and we shall fight the Russians together. May I join your squad? And he said, yes, you may join your squad. You may join my squad. And so ends the first part of my audiobook. See you later, subscribers. Thank you for tuning in. I think this is the end of the video.